Here's an issue that I see. When you include titles in there, first ask yourself whether it's necessary, because oftentimes the title doesn't add information to your sentence or your paragraph. In this case, I don't think it adds much. It's just adding word count. But if you were to include it, you would underline it, you would italicize it in APA. The capitalization you'd have to check. And in text, you need to capitalize every important word and don't capitalize an unimportant word. This is capitalized because it comes after a colon. It's the subtitle. This is proper capitalization for inside of your text. When it comes to your reference list, you can't use title case. You need to turn titles into sentence case, which means putting A back to lowercase. That's lowercase, lowercase, and lowercase. That's for the reference list. Now notice what I did here with track changes. I moved up the year. That's because in APA, the year is always glued to the author names. And notice also that the ampersand symbol is only used when you're using parentheses and in your reference list. Whenever the word and is part of your sentence, you spell it out. So this is proper, and this is the proper location for to 2011. And then you don't need to repeat it here. You just omit it because it's clear in this sentence that you're talking about them, the same source. So all we need is, for this quotation, a page number. And because there's only one page, we don't need the double P. The double P is a plural, means pages. So this is very specific about ideas from Longacre and Walker. It's a better use of citation than the previous one was citing Herrick. And we, of course, we'd move this period, and it would go here, and you would remove one of those P's, and you would turn this one into an ampersand symbol. Okay, and there's nothing in this sample that has reference errors. Let's move on. Okay, so once we get to the references, I'm just going to show you some things. We don't need to name the type of person it is. Those kinds of things only go when you have director and producer of films. Then you can identify who's the director and producer and who's an editor. This needs to be capitalized because they are proper nouns. Otherwise, this is proper, except, look, it's a video, YouTube. And APA considers YouTube videos or any video to be a complete work, so we italicize the title as if it was like a book. Oh, I see something above here, the references title. Do you see that heading? It should not have a colon after it because headings don't have punctuation on them. A standalone heading. Of course, it's on the web. That's not very useful as a descriptor. In APA, people want the genre. So you can put video here, and that will clarify why it's being italicized. I also see something going on because I've got editing marks revealed. If you take away the editing marks, it doesn't look like there's a problem, but this person is formatting their hanging indents improperly, and that can cause problems. As soon as I make any editing marks whatsoever, it will turn this forced hanging indent into something different. So I'm going to delete that, and as you can see, it's no longer looks like it's hanging, but the way that you should create a hanging indent is through Control-T. Okay, do you see that? So I just press Control-T. Shift-Control-T undoes that. Another way is to go into paragraph and, oops, not there, under indentation with lines and spacing, you go hanging. We don't need a retrieval date because that's only used when you have a feed or a wiki or something that could change daily or monthly. We know that things do disappear from the internet, and we won't blame you if it's gone. So we take away the retrieval date for everything else except a wiki or a feed. And that looks more like it should. And I would make sure that Friesen C was the actual channel name of the video on YouTube. And maybe if it's not the official channel name, I would click on the official channel name and see if a person named C. Friesen was associated as the owner of that channel. So I would check to see if that they've actually researched who the real author is. And it could be the channel that posted it. Even a username could be in an author position. So I'm going to take out that extra paragraph marker. It's in alphabetical order, that's good. They forgot that Mr. or Ms. Longacre wants their second initial in there. Maybe there's another person named M. Longacre. Check your dates to make sure that they really are the ones noted in the copyright page. And the first edition's not needed, only if it's the second edition onward. The capitalization's proper, everything else is proper, and in APA we often take off the obvious. We know that it's a company, we don't need ink, we don't need to know if it's limited, and it's a publisher. We just need the distinguishing name, so we end with Pearson and a period. Cities always have the two-state abbreviation on them. Here's our Campion reference, and all that needs to be fixed, of course, is taking off the retrieval date. Notice there's no colon after from. This is not part of the title. It came when a person copied and pasted probably a quotation from it. Okay, and you could put optionally article here, but you don't need it because it comes from the actual news source is identified if it's a news article. So here we go, to make sure we know who it was, we looked at the footer, and the footer will tell us that it's actually Toronto Star. So you can't go by the .com, that's not their official author name. You need that. Okay, I'm going to paste that in there. And it's italicized because it's the origin of that article is that. Okay, so that's done. Then we have a complete website being listed here, which is not proper. If this was the, if you only referenced it once, just in passing, no ideas from it, then it wouldn't exist here at all. You would just delete it from your reference list, and it would have to be cited in text only by the website name and only the consumersfirst.ca in parentheses. So either delete this whole line, or you would have to turn this into an actual page citation. If that's the name of the website, then maybe you're going to cite the home page. It doesn't have an official title for the home page, so you'll make that up in square brackets, take off the retrieval date, and maybe you have cited two different pages from it. Maybe their about page, and their about page might be actually called about. And these URLs will have endings to them, unique endings, to show that if you used it, you would go directly to that page of the website. Now once you have two entries that have exactly the same author and year, APA wants you to do this if they're n.d. -a -b. If it was 2017, you'd just put 2017A, and you wouldn't need the hyphen. The hyphen's there because of the period there. Okay, so once you have two pages cited and they're in that order, look at this, it's not alphabetical. About comes before home page, so I'd have to reverse the order because it's alphabetical. And then that would be A, and that would be B. Now I have to go back into my paper in the paragraphs and make sure that when I'm citing the about page, I give that n.d.a, and when I'm citing the home page, let's say quoting from it, then I use n.d.-b, and those will correlate with the URLs in the reference list. Okay, this is probably not the author name. It's identical to the title, and we have problems with italics again and the whole website being cited. So that needs to be fixed in the same way as this, because an entire website does not belong in a reference list. Herrick is cited well, all except for italics being missing and the forcing of the hanging indent. And so I'm going to go Control T. And we don't need the word. That's optional. It's not going to harm you, but we need to take it off for simplicity. And here's a problem with a URL. In APA, URLs have to be publicly accessible. If I click this from home, it will ask me to enter my UC login. So this URL is disallowed for APA citations. And what I've done is I've found I've taken a screenshot of what they found at the UC library to show you how to build the reference. Okay, so I'll just put that in the URL bar. It goes to my screenshot. Oh, it's from ProQuest database. So immediately I can replace that with retrieved from. Okay, ProQuest database. The name of the database does the trick. I'm just going to paint the format. There you go. And this is not part of the title. This is confusing. And it's hard to tell what type of source this is. Any kind of reference in a reference list needs to be clear about what genre you're looking at. And this does not make a genre clear. Is it a journal article? What is it? So I go to the source again, and I can see that it looks like Fever is the name of the periodical. It's probably a print newspaper because we have B6. Newspapers are traditionally in paper with those types of page numberings. Section B, Section D, etc. So we know it's a newspaper. We know we're accessing it online through a database. But we've got to format it so that it's not confusing for a person reading your reference list. It's only the word fever that goes in italics, just like with your citation of a journal article. And after fever, that's where this particular issue information goes. For if you treat it like a journal article, then you would put here fever December 2013. What's the date on it? Oh, it's not December, it's May. Okay, May 2nd. And its article is on page B6. Now it's a proper reference given the type of source that it is. Now this one's also problematic because the entire title includes the Alberta teacher's situation, so I have to keep that italicized. And I would wonder, why is it italicized? Web pages aren't italicized, and this looks like a web page URL. So if I go to this URL, does it take me to that title? That's what I would ask as your reader. I'm going to enter it, and look, it's from the Alberta Teachers Association website, but this is the title content, and that's not the title of the artifact that you're citing. But lo and behold, on the same page, if you scroll down, it gives you a link to this report by this title. And it's a PDF. Okay, so citing PDFs, we grab the URL for the PDF and we replace that so a person's not confused. Now it ends in PDF, and we include the locator, or the genre, sorry. We put here. And because it's a complete report published on its own at a URL, that's why it's italicized. And its capitalization needs to be fixed. Alberta stays capitalized because so does Canada, but we don't need national study. And I wonder about this repetition of the word the. The 2012, okay, there we go. Take out this the. So it is about being accurate. Put your period there and your period there. And we don't put a period at the end of a URL because it could break the URL when it's copied into a browser. Everything else ends with a period. And here, once again, we're going to assume that we know that CCRC is the name of a publisher, but it should come after the state and the two-letter abbreviation. Oh, sorry, that would be city. Okay, city and state if it's a US city, or else London, comma, UK. There we go. That's a book reference, obviously. And this heading is off. We're not in an MLA. There. So we've gone through a lot of things that can save you problems with communicating about your sources. And it is about clarity, and it's about not distracting your reader with unnecessary errors in your referencing. If you're following a style, then that's an important communication skill, and it's part of the rhetoric in your toolbox, and it reflects on your ethos and your clarity when you don't have your references in there properly. And of course, the ethics, citing the true author, making sure all your quotations have precise locators, whether they're page numbers or paragraph numbers. Okay, best wishes. Talk to you.